Hey, good morning. Monday morning. It is back to Europe today in an Airbus A320neo with LEAP 1A engines. Been a while since I've flown the Airbus, and I've had some major problems with the development version. I've been kind of fiddling around all morning trying to get it to work. And on the internet, I've heard that the stable version is the one to avoid. Well, right now, I've gone back to the stable version. And I know it doesn't have all the bells and whistles of the other two versions, and I'm happy with that as long as it can basically fly. Um, I would like a version to work this morning. My flight today is from Gibraltar, which I'm not sure what it is today. When I believe it started as an English territory or province. Oh, let's look at the cruise ships. A little stormy weather here at Gibraltar. There we are. We are in Air France today, flying along the northern coast of the Mediterranean. There's the Rock of Gibraltar there in the background. Air France today. Let's see if we can take a look at our routing. Here on the very west, the little inlet throat of the Med. Across the mountains of Spain here on the coast. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe these are called the Pyrenees Mountains that separate Spain from France. And then on the French Riviera into Nice. About a 759-mile flight, so not monstrously long for an airplane of this size. We'll push the air traffic control program off to the side. Let's fire up the ground handling program called Pushback Express. Give us a ground crew and some realistic pushback. And the other program I like, you folks have been with me for a little while, you know that I love my flight crew. Airbus A320 fly-by-wire crew. So now that those two are set up, let's see if we can't get some air stairs. Air France livery, 80 years, 80 années. I've got a little issue. I take, no matter what I do to delete that North American registry number, I can't do it. So I just have to live with it there. I wouldn't mind it if the livery didn't have its own European number. I wouldn't mind flying in Air France with the North American registry number. Actually, more specifically, that's a United States registry number, not North American. Gold and dark. Oh, wonderful! You can look into the terminal building. That's kind of cool. We have our virtual first officer with us today. Good morning, Christy. She is as intense as usual. It's great to see her. That was one of my problems in the development version. Couldn't get Christy. External power is available. We'll use it. Battery 1 on. Battery 2 on. Listen to those air conditioners kick on in the background. Come down here, kick on the emergency exit lights. Seatbelt sign on, no smoking sign on, nav 1 or 2, wing lights on. Let's turn on the ground control button. Listen to the CVR test. I do not believe this works in the stable version. Nope, cannot hear it. Ground control off. Let's get the IRS system lined up. The inertia reference system on the Airbus, it's called ADIRS. ADIRS 1 to nav. ADIRS 2 to nav. ADIRS 3 to nav. This is part of the problem I was having with the development version, was in the fire tests. We'll do a fire test on the APU. That is working. It didn't work in the development version. I noticed when it came on board, it was a touch warm. We'll get these cabin temperature controls down just a little twinge. It won't make any difference until the APU is fired up. We have air conditioning provided from the terminal. Let's do a test for smoke in the cargo area. That test passes. We will turn on the annunciator test light, and that'll illuminate every bulb on the flight deck. We're checking for bulbs that are not illuminated, elements that are not fully functional. All bulbs, all elements are under scrutiny during this test. And we seem to be fine. And we have power to the flight deck, which is my big problem with the development version, is I had no power. I'm going to hold off on the crew air oxygen supply. I'm going to hold off on the fuel pumps. So for right now, upstairs looks great. Oh, here comes one of our flight attendants.
Let's start setting up.
Okay.
She's going to go back in the back and do her little thing. Kick up some of these integrity lights. Even during the daytime, I like to get the integrity lights cranked up a bit. It's looking better. While I was fiddling with the other version, we had some major storms outside, and you know I like to fly in live weather and live time and live traffic. You can still see we're having some lightning from time to time, but I must say it's calmed down from what it was before. Get some more of these lights all cranked up. Let's go to the company, the ATSU menu, then the company menu, and we will initialize the flight. Let's get our data over the data link from the dispatch office. That was a good strike of lightning. Here we are, Air France flight number 43. We're flying from Gibraltar to Nice. Fuel on board is 9.5. Estimated time en route. Not sure how to read that number. Not going to worry about it. Let's do a weather request for Gibraltar, and I kind of forget the airport code of the airport we're going to. I got to be reminded here a little bit. Gibraltar to Nice, LFMN, and LFML is our alternate. Let's send those, meet our current weather conditions, and we'll send a terminal aerodrome forecast. We'll send forecast conditions. Let's go back, do a weight and balance. Block fuel, 888.5. Taxi trip, we have 9.5 on board, I believe. So we have more fuel than we need, so we won't load any fuel. Let's go to the next page. 59.3 on the zero fuel weight, 30.0 on the center of gravity, 177 fine folks aboard. There's a breakdown of our payload, and we'll load that into the aircraft. Back to the AOC menu. Looks like we have some messages. Terminal aerodrome forecast. I don't so much care about forecast here in Gibraltar. Let's look at the forecast at Nice. Okay, date block, time block, wind 100 at 3, very light free, no limit to visibility. Becoming 180 at 10. In that time block, variable 3 knots. Broken at 1,100, 160 at 5. So no great weather where we're going. And the alternate is much the same. So let's print that. Now that we have the forecasted weather, let's go back and see if we can't get the meter.
I'm back. No issues on the walk around.
Okay.
Oh, Christy is back. Okay, Gibraltar, 080 at 8. So winds are basically from the east. I'd rather take off west over the water, but I might have to take off east. Very light and variable. Light rain, few clouds at 500, scattered at 8,000, broken at 11,000. 22 temp, 20 dew point. Temperature and dew point spread is rather close, which could mean ground fog or haze. QNH is 1014. Okay. That's, I mean, I'd rather the wind be in another direction, and the clouds are a little low, and there's potential for fog, but that's not terrible. It's certainly not mentioning the storminess that we see outside. Nice, few clouds at 2,000, scattered at 26,000, 108 winds from the south at 5 knots. Again, I'd rather the winds be from the north or from the east, but 5 knots is not much, so that will be okay. Let's print that. You know, what's the old saying? Everyone complains about the weather, but no one does anything about it. We have our weather. Let's arm our speed brakes, engine switch to both. They should be in the cutoff position. Thrust handles to idle, parking brake is on. Landing gear handle should be down. Boy, the crew left this airplane in a shambles. They really didn't clean it up very much from the previous flight. Let's go back to our McDo. We're done with the company menu. Now we can go into the flight management system. We have LEAP 1A engines rated at 26,000 pounds of thrust. They are installed on an Airbus A320-200. Let's go to the data page, aircraft status, that's the same. Initialization, we'll get that information populated from our database link with the dispatch office. Alternate LFML, Gibraltar to Nice, Air France flight number 43. There's the tropopause. It's really high at 42,000 feet. We don't really need to verify its location or do any calculation on it because it is so high. Let's get winds aloft into our wind calculation. Top of climb winds 250 at 6.3 with an ISA deviation of +4. The winds are at flight level 360. 250 at 6.3, flight level 360. That's enough wind. IRS initialization. We have IRSs aligned on the GPSs. That's great. Cost index is 18. That's from our flight plan. Flight level 360, negative 51 degrees. That's a very common temperature for that altitude. Nothing to worry about there. Let's populate the zero fuel weight, zero fuel center of gravity. Don't need to do any fuel planning because our fuel on board is enough. We'll just enter that fuel on board, 9.5. It comes from this number right here. And there we go. Taxi, trip fuel, reserve, alternate, final, extra fuel, 3.5 hours. That's great. We can go on to our flight plan page.
Hi, the security and safety check are all done. Are we good to start boarding?
Yes.
Yes, you can start boarding.
Bring those
Thanks.
fine folks aboard. Departure from well, I mentioned I didn't like the wind direction. 9 or 27. Let's I'd rather take off on 27, but looks like 9 is going to be 9 is going to be my yeah, I'm not going to be happy with runway 9, but that looks like that's what's going to get us there. Let's oh, having a little issue with my connection. Let's I want to troubleshoot this real fast. I moved my FSU IPC is a program that links outer programs to other programs, and I moved it temporarily in anticipation of doing some housekeeping, and now I don't have access to it. There it is. Okay. I'm just going to start it from here. See if I remember how to start it. There it is. Okay, this FSU IPC will allow the air traffic control program to talk to the simulator. And once it's set up, you should be able to connect. There we go. Well, I appreciate your patience while we did that housekeeping. Let's get a frequency so we can get a clearance. Let's see if this will work. Mediterranean control. Up, 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 up. Problem. The last plane I flew was a little Skyhawk here, and I've got to tell the simulator I'm now in an airliner. AFR. Enter Air France, flight number 43. Save that. I hope that is all I need to do. Mediterranean control, Air France 4 tree, ready to copy. Center, Air France 4 tree, ready to copy. I think I might need to do just a little bit more housekeeping here. That okay, let's see if that might have fixed it. Center, Airbus. Okay, Brad, start thinking again. Center, Air France 43, ready to copy. Well, I am getting a response here. You can see that my clearance is being read to me. 4-3 is cleared to Lima. Foxtrot Mike November is filed. Climb and maintain 4,000. But the problem is I want to not only be able to read that, I want to be able to hear it. So why am I not able to hear that?
This is Microsoft. Linda, I will be your ATIS voice for the flight.
I think
Air France 43 is cleared to Lima Foxtrot Mike November as filed. Climb and maintain 4,000 feet. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Squawk 4540.
Air France 43 read back correct. QNH is 1016 let station tunnel when you're ready for pushback.
QNH is 1016 Air France 43.
we have our clearance, 4,000 feet. Expect runway 27. Oh, 27. Okay. She's given us two. I like 27. I think that goes against the weather, but I'm not going to argue with her. QNH is 1016. 1016, 4,000, 27 on the heading.
Hi guys, here's the load sheet for you.
Thanks.
No problem, have a safe flight.
We have our load sheet so we can lock the cabin door. Ah. Maximum on the RTO, the rejected takeoff, speed brake is armed. Let's lock the cabin door. Our squawk code was 4540. We'll move this into the TA mode and we'll move that into the auto mode. We are ready for a checklist. Christy, are you ready for a checklist?
Before start checklist.
Cockpit prep.
Completed.
Completed.
Completed. Gear pins and covers.
Removed.
Signs.
On and auto.
Are you sure about
Oh, I
that?
know.
Adiers.
Nav.
Are you sure about that? Fuel quantity.
9520 kilograms. Set.
Takeoff data.
Set.
Barrel ref.
1016. Set.
1016. Set. Down to the line.
Let's fire up the APU. Beacon on. Cruise supply on. Pumps on. Fire test on engine number 1. Fire test on engine number 2. That tests out fine. APU is off. APU master to on. I'm going to look for the flaps open indication. Little door on the rear left part of the aircraft that pops open. There it goes. Flaps open. Let's start the APU. Turn on the APU bleed. While we're here, we'll monitor the engines, which are shut down. There is no bleed air right now. There is no cabin pressure. Inlet valve is closed. Outlet valve is closed. Safety valve is closed. No PSI. Vertical speed is not moving. Cabin altitude is no different than external altitude. Electrical power is coming from ground power through the transformers. Batteries are on. Hydraulic system is not modeled in the stable mode. Fuel, we have 9520 kilograms of fuel. The fuel pumps are on. The APU is available. We're getting bleed air now, so if we go to our bleed air page, you can see that we're getting bleed air to our engines for engine start. So we have APU power. We can go off of ground power. And that's looking pretty good. Let's check in with the ground crew.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
Confirm all ground checks complete. We're cleared to pressurize the hydraulics.
Once that check is completed, all doors and panels are closed, no issues found. You can pressurize the hydraulics anytime now.
Let's get back down. We are leaving from runway 27. There are no procedures for this airport. On the arrival, we're looking at runway 4. Wow, there are a lot of waypoints. I'd rather do the ILS to 4 if it's available. ILS to 4 right. ILS to 4 right. And what procedure? No procedure. Insert. This looks good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board today. As you locate your assigned seats, please place your smaller items under the seat in front of you to provide more room for larger items in our overhead
56
compartments.
on the flex
If you
temp.
need assistance, contact a flight attendant. If you are unable to accommodate any item in the cabin, please
Nothing
bring it
on
to
the
the boarding door and
stabulator
we will
trim.
check it for you. Also,
Flaps
review
1.
the safety instruction card in your
10,000
seat
feet would be
pocket.
good for our
If you are
transition. I don't
seated in
actually
an
know
exit
what the
seat, also
transition
review the
altitude is
exit
in
seating
France,
criteria.
but or in France. Oh, 10,000 is good. Let's enter the V2, V1, V rotate and V1. We'll put the V2 up in our MCP panel here. And now that we have most of the folks aboard, not quite done with boarding, but getting pretty close, we'll say hi to the folks.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck. This is the captain speaking. On behalf of the entire flight crew and myself, I'd like to welcome you aboard today's flight. Our flight attendants are there for your comfort, but more importantly for your safety, so please give them a few minutes of your undivided attention while they go over the safety features of this aircraft. Once the boarding process is complete, we'll get the cabin door closed and push off the gate for an on-time departure. In the meantime, please sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. Welcome aboard.
Door is still open. Stairs are still attached, right? Sometimes the stairs will come out and no one will tell me. Little flashes of lightning in the sky, but I didn't see anything about that in the weather. Flight plan. So I noticed that the actual routing is a dashed line, and the solid line is going out into infinity, and I believe that's because I haven't, the heading indicator is set for a number instead of a managed heading. So I think once I go into managed mode, that will change, and it'll move on to the flight plan. We're just letting the cabin crew do what they need to do and get the last few folks
Hey guys,
aboard.
are we cleared to close?
Yes.
Thanks. Let me know if you need anything.
We are cleared to close. Now, is she gonna close the boarding door, or am I gonna close the boarding door? I think I will. Is that door gonna close on its own, or do I need to help it out? Nope, the door closed on its own. Good.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We will be ready shortly.
Understood.
Get the tug all lined up. Gibraltar Tower, Air France Forestry, request pushback and engine start.
Aircraft calling tower, say again with your consent.
Gibraltar Tower, Air France Forestry, request pushback and engine start. Gibraltar Tower, Air France Forestry, ready for pushback and engine start.
Air France 43 pushback and engine start approved.
Pushback and engine start approved. Air France 43.
Let's finish that checklist.
Below the line.
Windows and doors.
They are closed.
Closed.
Closed. Beacon.
Beacon is on.
On.
Thrust levers.
Thrust levers are idle.
Idle.
Parking brake.
Parking brake
Off.
is on.
Before start, checklist complete.
Parking brake is on or off? It's on.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Understood. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Pushing back. All ground equipment is clear. You can start the engines at your discretion.
Starting engine 2. Starting engine 1.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board our flight today. This is the lead flight attendant
Progressive
speaking.
wind shear system
Please
can
direct
come
your
on.
attention to the cabin crew for important safety information.
Transponder can go to
There is an
TARA
instruction
mode.
card in your seat pocket that illustrates the safety equipment on this aircraft. Regulations require compliance with this information as well as all crew instructions, lighted information.
The push is
signs,
complete.
and
Please set the brakes.
placards. Fasten your seatbelt by inserting
Parking brake
the
set.
zip into the
Understood.
buckle.
Okay, so the ground equipment is removed and the pin is out. Good engine starts from down here, and I see you on the right hand side with the pin.
Thanks, and you can disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks, have a good flight, and we'll see you later.
Exit signs and instructions for door operation. Each door is equipped with an escape slide. Locate the exit nearest you. The nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, lights will illuminate the aisle. The cabin is pressurized. If there is a loss of cabin pressure, a panel will open and oxygen masks will appear. Remain seated with your seatbelt fastened and pull a mask toward you to start the flow of oxygen. Oxygen will be flowing to the mask even though the bag may not inflate. Cover your
After
nose
start
and mouth with
checklist.
the mask.
Anti-ice.
Place the elastic band
Off.
around your
Ecam
head
status.
and tighten by pulling
Checked.
on the end.
Pitch trim.
Secure your own
26%
mask before
set.
assisting
Rudder trim.
others.
0.
After start
Your
checklist
seat
complete.
bottom cushion may be used as a flotation device. Pull up and remove the cushion. Upon exiting the aircraft, place your arms around the cushion and
Flight
hold
control
on to
check.
the strap
Ready.
located on the back. This is a non-smoking flight. Smoking is not permitted in the cabin or lavatories. Cabin lights will now be turned off.
Full up.
Reading light buttons are located
Full
above
down.
your seat. Thank
Neutral.
you for your attention.
Full right. Full left. Neutral.
Rudder.
Full right. Full left. Neutral.
Gibraltar Tower, Air France 43 requests taxi runway 27.
Air France 43 taxi to runway 27 via taxiways Bravo 1, with short runway 27.
Taxi to runway 27 via taxiways Bravo 1, hold short runway 27 Air France 43.
We have our taxi clearance. Let's make sure there's nothing here on the left-hand side.
Clear left side.
Clear right side.
We'll release the brakes. Do a quick little brake check here. Brakes are fine. Let's get our EFIS screen back to the engines. And let's get ourselves out to the runway.
Before takeoff checklist.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Checked. Flight instruments.
Am I going to have to taxi on the runway? Well, I don't like doing a back taxi if I don't have
Checked.
to.
Checked. Briefing.
Looks like I will. Welcome to Europe. So common in Europe is this idea of the back taxi. Or some people call it a taxi back.
Confirmed.
Flap setting.
Flap should be at 1. I don't set them yet. Okay.
Are you sure about that?
V1, VR, V2, flex temp.
V1, 1, 3, 5. VR, 1, 3, 6. V2, 1, 4, 0. Flex temp, 5, 6 degrees.
V1, 1, 3, 5. VR, 1, 3, 6. V2, 1, 4, 0. Flex temp, 5, 6 degrees. ATC.
Got a little directionally challenged here. We're going in the wrong direction. Okay, so I really didn't want to do a back taxi. It looks like I don't have to do a back taxi. Runway 27 is over here.
Set.
Ecam memo.
Okay, do a takeoff configuration. Push the little button right here. All blue.
Takeoff, no blue.
Down to the line.
Let's advise the cabin crew. Why do we have an X over here? There is a displaced threshold. I'm going to use the displaced threshold here.
Below the line.
Cabin
Air
crew.
transport re-advise when ready for departure.
Wilco Air France 43.
Advised.
TCAS.
TARA.
Engine mode selector.
Ignition.
Packs.
Packs are on.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Gibraltar Tower, Air France 43, ready for departure, runway 27. Gibraltar Tower, Air France 43, ready for departure, runway 27.
Air transport wings are 031 at 13 knots QNH is 1013 cleared for takeoff. Runway 27 maintain runway heading until above 1000 feet enter left heading 0602 intersect course.
Cleared for takeoff. Runway 27 maintain runway heading until above 1000 feet then left to 060 Air France 43.
Check for traffic on final.
Air transport reclaim and maintain flight level 130.
Climb and maintain flight level 130 Air France 43.
We're given 130 for our altitude. No obstructions on the runway, no traffic. Let's take the runway.
Takeoff.
Check.
Go into the flex mode for a flex takeoff. That might be a mistake. This runway might not be long enough. We'll see soon enough. We're really not gaining speed very quickly. Maybe the flex was a bad idea. Barely enough.
Man flex 5, 6. SRS auto thrust blue.
Checked.
Positive
Gear up.
rate. Gear up.
Flaps 1.
Autopilot on.
Pitch. Pitch.
Air transport recontact Madrid control on 118.27. Have a good afternoon.
Center on 118.27 Air France 43.
Thrust levers are in climb mode. Turn off the APU. Probably should have done that.
Center Air France 43 climbing to flight level 130.
Air France 43, good afternoon. Radar contact.
One of the most beautiful departures. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. I want another screenshot once the rocket Gibraltar comes around. Okay, there's another screenshot. That is so spectacular.
Air France 43 climb and maintain flight level 130.
Climb and maintain flight level 130 Air France 43.
Let's go into manage speed mode as well. Looks like we're going to penetrate some clouds here. Let's get some anti-ice on. Wing anti-ice, engine 1 and 2 anti-ice, and probe heat anti-ice.
After takeoff, climb checklist.
Landing gear.
Up.
Flaps.
Retracted.
Packs.
Packs are on.
Down to the line.
Let's put the ignition switch into the normal position. Getting close to 10,000 feet transition level. Also, we can kill our landing lights and get out of Christmas tree mode.
Reference 43 climb and maintain flight level 210.
Climb and maintain flight level 210 Airfrans 43.
We're still getting some lightning strikes, but they don't seem to be affecting our flight performance. Transition.
Set standard.
Standard cross-check. Passing flight level 110. Now.
Checked.
Let's finish the checklist.
Clear rad nav.
Okay.
Below the line.
Barrel ref.
Standard set.
Standard set. After takeoff, climb checklist complete.
This is a fairly thick layer we're going through here. As we make our bank to the left, it looks like we're going to have a tailwind, 42 knots of tailwind. Ground speed is 385 and climbing.
Airfrans 43 expedite climb to flight level 210.
Expedite climb to flight level 210 Airfrans 43. And we've broken out, at least into a... Look at those thunderheads.
maybe it's time to turn on the weather radar. Not sure that it's...
Efrons 43 climb and maintain flight level 290.
Climb and maintain flight level 290 Efrons 43.
I don't think the weather radar is modeled in this aircraft, the stable version. Sure is beautiful, though. Now we have a 50 knot tailwind, 433 on the ground speed. Penetrating another layer. So this is what the inside of a cloud looks like. One thing I didn't do is turn the flight director on or the constraints. Let's do it on Christie's side as well. Christy, you were supposed to remind me of that.
Efrons 43 climb and maintain flight level 370.
Climb and maintain flight level 370 Efrons 43.
if I were on a flight in the United States, I don't think that by default there would be so many intermittent waypoints. I think I don't mind, you know, for reporting purposes, it's better to have all those waypoints, and as long as they don't stray you off your course, they don't hurt anything. It's just there are a lot of waypoints. You could probably get away with about a third of those. Doing okay, Christy? We don't get to explore this environment very much, do we? My goodness. I can see every pimple on you. You can really get some...
F43 climb and maintain flight level 370.
Climb and maintain flight level 370 Airfrans 43.
Really get some interesting perspectives. .60-knot tailwind, 0.76 Mach. We're just tootling right along. 5 miles to Rixor. There's quite a gap between the last waypoint and Rixor, but after Rixor they get much closer. I believe air traffic control is taking us up to 370. Maybe we'll punch into the clear. .521 on the ground speed. NASCAR race cars have nothing on us. You know, the fastest NASCAR racer on his best day will be lucky to be in the 200-mile range. Here we are, easily more than double that 200-mile-an-hour range. Airplanes are amazing in so many ways. I see blue skies. We're at 35,000 feet, leveling at 37, and I believe we're going to be on top.
1,000 to go.
Check.
Well, we are at our, we're not as high above the tops as I would like to be to turn off the anti-ice and engine and wing and pitot anti-ice. So we'll leave those on, just kind of skirting the upper edge of these clouds. Actually, the chance of moisture at this altitude, what's the outside temperature? Outside temperature is, on a Boeing aircraft, this would be so easy to know. Let's come down here to the eve. Engines are fine. Bleed air is fine. Pressure system, no vertical speed per minute, cabin altitude. I don't think this is modeled. This may not be modeled. I don't see any change from when we were on the ground. Electrical system, we are on the engines. Batteries are charged. Hydraulics are not modeled. Fuel, we are ticking down on our fuel from our 9,500 that we started with. APU is off. Air conditioning is about where it started from. Minus 27 degrees. We are out of icing we are too cold for icing, so I think we're okay on turning off the anti-ice. Doors are closed, brakes are not overheated, flight controls have been checked. We can turn off the anti-ice. We can turn off the lights, leave the strobes on. And I'm going to hold off on the approach phase, of course, but what I will do is allow Christy to take over the flying.
You have control.
I have control.
And I will regain control when we're a little closer. When I looked up, I meant to turn off the seatbelt sign. I don't think I did. 1.78 Mach, tailwind of 65 knots, ground speed of 512. And still some flashes of lightning. Well, now that Christy is in control, I can have a little fun. Let's go check out my fly pad. The fly pad is similar to an iPad, but I don't think there are as many games on it. Before I do, take a sip of coffee. Tasty. There's the weather we've been experiencing, kind of all over Spain. Portugal. Gibraltar down here. Nice is right about here. Gibraltar to Nice. Here's our routing. A little bit higher pressure in Nice. Lighter winds. 1 degree Celsius warmer, slightly larger temperature dew point spread.
Efrons 43 contact Barcelona control on 119.45. Have a nice day.
Center on 119.45 Efrons 43. Center Efrons 43 at flight level 370. Air France for Trigo good evening. Had that contact?
Now that Christy has control, I think I'm going to leave just for a second. I'll be back in just a shake. Well, looks like Christy did not send us into oblivion. That's good. Now that I'm back from our break, I can catch up on my phone activity. But sir, you need to be in airplane mode. That's the beauty of the simulator. Okay, all caught up. I think I mentioned that when I moved, when there was a big block of the, let me show you something. Here on the routing, if we look at the routing, Gibraltar, direct to Pimos, there's an airway, there's another waypoint, there's an airway. And then and remember, those airways have got all sorts of waypoints embedded in the airway. And then there's this thing, and this is very European. BCN/N0045F. I'm not, those might be some type of lat long, I don't know what the heck that is. But I knew that the air traffic control program would not understand what that is. And then we go back to an airway, another waypoint, airway, waypoint, airway, waypoint, and then our procedure to Nice. So what I did when I set up the air traffic control program, I just eliminated that whole big long segment. Well, here you can see the difference. Here's what it looks like with that segment. A whole bunch of waypoints right there over the Balearic Sea from Valencia onward. And here's what it looks like without that segment. Sopet is our next waypoint. We're approaching it here real fast. And then there's nothing until Saucer. So if you look at the routing, there's Sopet, an airway in the other end, and Saucer. So this whole area, as far as air traffic control is concerned, we're just flying direct from Sopet to Saucer. And we're basically doing the same thing. It's just when the flight was written by SimBrief, it added in this European block that translated into all these little waypoints. The end result is absolutely no difference. No change. But you can see that the flight management computer was loaded from SimBrief. And SimBrief had that block, which means all those waypoints are included in the flight management computer. We are getting some really strong nearby lightning strikes. So close, in fact, that they are temporarily whiting out the flight deck. There they, oh, I saw a flash of lightning out there below us. You can look down onto the ground. This simulator is so amazing. Christy thinks so too. like the cloud layer that we're slightly under is the one generating the lightning. We've been flying for a little while. I guess it's time to get some updated weather. So let's go to the McDo menu, the Atsu menu, the company menu, the ATIS menu, and that's our arrival airport. Let's just send. Okay, we have got a couple of ATIS messages. No ATIS available. Thought that might happen. Let's get a METAR. Let's get a new METAR. Let's get a, I don't care about Gibraltar anymore. So I don't know if I can clear out Gibraltar or not. Nope, I can't. Ha. What if I were to type Lima, Foxtrot, Mike, November, just right over Gibraltar? Oh, that doesn't work either. Okay, well, we'll send it. Yeah, that's the ATIS that's not available. Of course, we need to wait just a little. It's not instantaneous, of course. You need to company menu, receive messages. Okay, here we have a new one, new METAR, and we'll print that. Okay, so what I want to do is either have a fairly recent METAR and or have ATIS on the radio. So let's, we're not going to be able to receive a radio ATIS until we're within 250 miles, I believe. And right now, we are 368 miles out. So another 120 miles to go until we can even hope to get an ATIS on the radio. And with that weather information, I can set up the approach. In the past, I've set up the approach with the weather that I got before takeoff, but that weather is 2 hours old by the time we land. And I want to get out of that habit. I want to get in the habit of using more current weather. You know, the ground spoilers are armed. Christy, you're slipping. She didn't disarm the ground spoilers. Doesn't matter. Doesn't really hurt anything. In about 70 miles, I will be at the outer edge of the possibility of receiving the ATIS from our destination. So I'll try to get that ATIS information. And set up our approach. And if I'm unable to do that, then I will use the latest METAR that we just printed out. But specifically what I'm looking for are surface wind conditions and temperature. So we're under the control of Barcelona Center right now. Yesterday when I was flying in the state of Minnesota, I was changing controllers left and right. Mostly all in the Minneapolis Center. Haven't had a whole lot of controller changes. I'm not sure if that's unusual or not. It would seem to me that airline traffic over the Mediterranean would be pretty heavy, and they would have the segments, the air traffic control segments would be sliced up into pretty small segments, and you'd be changing controllers pretty frequently. And I'm not experiencing that. Less than 50 miles to go. Once I have the approach set up, I'll take over from Christy. We'll see what our distances look like, and we will start our approach checklist. Prepare for top of descent. Get the seatbelt sign turned back on. Get the elevator ready to go down. There's Saucer. Remember, Saucer is the far end of that block that air traffic control considers this all one straight line until we get to Saucer.
Heavy traffic at 1 o'clock 3 miles at flight level 360.
He called traffic on me. You have traffic at 1 o'clock, 3 miles. Let's take a look. Well, I don't see any traffic. He called it. Remember, the traffic that I have set up here is live traffic. So it might be somebody else, a real live person. Called traffic, I don't see it. 3 miles at 360, so they're just a little below me. clock at 3 miles. About 25 miles to go. 38 miles till our next waypoint. About 17 miles to go. Miles to go. Now, it's not an exact science when you can start receiving an FM frequency. This will just be the outer area that it's possible. Six miles to go. There it is, 250 miles to destination. Let's see if I can get a frequency. Yes, I believe I can. 136,575. Oh, just gotta find the right button for it here. 136,575. Nothing there. How about 136, 129.60.
Weather is not currently available for LA Garin. Arriving and departing runway 29er. LA Garin information Whiskey, 1530 Zulu winds are 139er at 8 knots. Visibility 6 miles. Sky condition VFR.
Okay, well, 136.575 is the good frequency, but for right now, we'll tune back into center.
Center airframes 43 at flight level 370.
Air France 43 radar contact.
Definitely want to try that again once we get to Saucer. Actually, we're going to be hitting top of descent here pretty quick. I'm going to do it now using what I have. So let's go to performance. Okay. Next phase, next phase, next phase. QNH is 1016. Temperature is 25. Winds are 150 at 4. Transition altitude is 10,000 feet. Decision height is 200 feet. On the radio altimeter, and we're not going to activate it yet, but what I will do is go ahead and brief the approach. So here we are. There's our location. We're going to be top of descent here really soon. I want to get a approach plate for change runway to runway 4 right, 4 right. ILS to 4 right. And let's show the overlay. Frequency of 110.7. Degree glide slope. That looks pretty good. Missed approach, climb straight ahead at DME 1.4. Turn right at less than 200 knots onto the 117 radial of Azer and enter a teardrop for a hold at 3,000 feet. Mandatory 230 knot airspeed at 3,000 feet. That is the procedure. And we can expect the descent any second now. As we're getting kind of close. I think I will go ahead and activate the approach phase. Let's turn on the landing system.
Air Transport 3 expect the ILS approach to runway 04 right at Inais Cotedatsur.
Expect the ILS approach to runway 04 right Air France 43.
Barcelona Center, Air France 43, request flight level 080.
Air Transport 3 descend and maintain flight level 090.
Descent and maintain flight level 090 Air France 43.
I should have known we're flying east on an odd altitude. I don't know why I requested 08. 09 is more appropriate. Let's talk to the folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, this is the captain speaking. We're going to begin our initial descent here momentarily. At this time, I'm going to turn the seatbelt sign back on, so please return your seats and keep your seatbelts securely fastened until the aircraft has come to a stop at the gate and the seatbelt sign has been turned off. It's been our pleasure having you on board for today's flight, and we hope to see you back on a future flight again real soon. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival. I have control.
You have control.
Approach checklist.
Briefing.
Confirmed.
ECAM status.
Checked.
Seatbelts.
On.
Barrel rest.
1013. Set.
1013. Set. Minimum.
200. Set.
200. Set. Engine mode selector.
Normal.
Approach checklist complete.
Air Transport 3 contact Marseille Center on 124.5. Have a good evening.
Center on 124.5 Air France 43.
Went from the Barcelona Center to the Marseille Center. I've been to Marseille as well.
Center Air France 43 descending to flight level 090.
Never been to Barcelona. Never been
Air
to Spain.
France 43, good evening. Radar contact.
Well, I went to Palma de Mallorca, which is a island off of the Spanish coast. That was Spain. But I'd never been on the Spain mainland. I went to a casino there on the island It reminded me of every James Bond casino you could ever imagine. It's a place where their playing cards don't have numerical characters on them. You need to count the number of clubs or the number of diamond or the number of spades on the card face because there's no numeral. Very cool. Very cool. I think if I remember when I was there, the paybacks were terrible. It was one of those casinos where you didn't really pay too much attention to your win or loss because you were mostly losing. But the atmosphere was wonderful. I know when I go to Las Vegas, I shop for the best paybacks. I like draw poker machines. I like to shop for the best. I learned how to read the payback scales. And I look for the best paybacks. That type of casino. You're there for the ambiance, not the payback. Had an aircraft streak over our head. Nobody called traffic on him. It's amazing how the weather has gotten so much better. $139 miles to destination. That is the coast of France right ahead of us. When I grew up, when I was a teenager, I was into British sailing novels, mostly about the the wars between France and England. It seemed like France and England were always at war. And all the books I read were written from an English perspective, so the frogs were always the enemy. Sometimes the Spanish, sometimes the Portuguese, sometimes the Dutch, but mostly it was the French. It seemed so remote that an Englishman could be standing on French soil in peace. And here we are casually flying toward the coast of France. Yeah, great thing about Flight Simulator, I haven't been to France in more than 25 years, but with just a couple of clicks on a computer screen, I'm back in France. And we'll be making a landing in a city that I visited before. I've been to France, I've been to Marseille, took the bullet train to Paris. I would have loved to have taken the Channel and gone to England. I've never been to England, never been to Germany. A couple of big regrets of mine. I believe when I was there was no Channel. You had to get to England the hard way. I always wondered how that was going to work. You know, the people in France drive on the right side of the highway and people in England drive on the left side of the highway, and if they allowed people to drive their cars, they'd have a whole lot of head-on collisions in that tunnel. Good thing they park their cars and get on a train. French driving habits and English driving habits don't mix very easily. About to go feet dry, as they would say in the Navy. Get our aircraft over land. One bad thing about coming down from altitude is our ground speed, our airspeed changes, of course, but more importantly, our ground speed changes. We're now at 333 knots now. Of course, that's a whole lot faster than any NASCAR or race car you've ever imagined, but it's still 100 knots slower than we were going when we were at altitude. Also, from an economics point of view, the bean counters don't like it that we burn fuel faster when we're at a lower altitude.
Cabin crew, prepare for arrival.
"61 miles will make our final turn onto an extended final, and 75 miles will be at destination." So about 15 miles on that extended final. Marseille province. Looks like that city that we came over just as we made feet dry was Marseille. I've been to 3 French cities: Nice, Marseille, and Toulon. And I don't know where Toulon is. It's also somewhere along the coast, if I remember. And then we went to Trieste, Italy, which is way up at the top of the boot. Yeah, Trieste is in this area. And we went all over Italy. Yeah, Rome and Naples and Florence, I think we were at. Boy, memories, right? 42 miles until our turn, 57 miles to destination. Eight minutes to our turn, 11 minutes to our destination. Approaching transition level. Transition level, let's go to local pressure.
1016, set.
1016, set. Passing 9,800. 1,000 to go.
Check.
Let's ding the cabin.
Now.
Checked.
Let's get the Christmas tree lights on.
Center Airframes 43 descending to flight level 090.
Airframes 43 radar contact.
BSA Center for Air France 43, request flight level 050.
Airframes 43 negative. Your requested altitude is below the minimum for your route. Descend and maintain 3,700 feet. QNH is 1015.
Descent and maintain 3,700 feet. QNH is 1015. Airframes 43.
Airframes 43 descend and maintain 3,700 feet.
Descent and maintain 3,700 feet. Airframes 43.
Contact nice approach on 128.2, have a good one.
Climb and maintain flight level 110. Descent and maintain 4,400 feet. QNH is 1015. Approach on 128.2. Airframes 43.
Did you say 4,400?
Approach Airframes 43 descending to 4,400 feet.
Air France 43 good evening. Radar contact. Air France 43 maintain 4,400 feet. Air France 43 cleared for the ILS approach to runway 04 right, continue to CI04R, then cleared to FI04R to join the approach.
Continue to CI04R, then cleared to FI04R to join the approach. Air France 43.
I'm surprised we're not getting a radio signal from our ILS yet. "15 miles till our turn, 30 miles to our destination."
Air France 43 QNH is 1016 at NIS Cote d'Azur, contact tower on 118.7, enjoy your evening.
QNH is 1016 tower on 118.7. Air France 43. Tower Air France 43 inbound for ILS approach runway 04 right.
Air France 43 good evening. Radar contact. Continue ILS to runway 04 right, call when established on final.
Continue ILS to runway 04 right, will call when established on final. Air France 43.
$1,000 to go.
Check.
Looks like we're going to have a quartering tailwind on landing, quartering from the left. 6-knot wind right now.
Air France falls Ries level to 200 knots or less.
Wilco Air France 43.
We're still not getting the ILS signal. Let's go to flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
Airport in sight. I really want that ILS frequency. Why do I not have an ILS? Disconnect the autopilot. Flaps 2.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure about that. Gear down. Flaps 3.
Are you sure about that?
Are you going to give me this lip the whole time? Let's do a landing checklist.
Landing checklist.
Cabin crew.
Advised.
Advised.
Auto thrust.
Set.
Off.
Auto brake.
Off.
ECAM memo.
Landing. No blue.
Landing checklist complete.
Full flaps. This would be easier with an ILS. I don't know why I don't have an ILS, but sometimes you don't have what you don't have. Thankfully, in an Airbus with an auto throttle, the throttle is a big part of the workload. So with the auto throttle, keeping you at your landing speed, there's only two things you need to maintain, and that is runway center line and
2,500.
pitch attitude. Of course, I don't have, let's put the brakes on, auto brakes on. Let's arm the speed brakes, arm the spoilers. I've got to handle the flare and the thrust reversers.
Sync rate.
1,000.
I've got a
Check.
good poppy, Vasi.
Air France falls reins are light and variable cleared to land runway 04 right.
Clear to land runway 04 right Air France 43.
The Vasi is telling me that I'm
500.
on glide slope, but I see my eyes tell me I'm a little high.
400.
Now I'm a little low.
100 above.
Check.
Continue.
Minimum.
Continue. I'm going to land long now.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
Air France Falls re-exit
Spoilers,
runway
the
when
reverse
evil.
engine 1 and 2. Decel.
Okay, off on the auto brakes.
$70 knots.
After landing checklist.
Flaps.
Retracted.
Spoilers.
Disarmed.
APU.
Would you start the APU, please? You're not going to do anything for me, are you?
Start.
Radar.
Off.
Predictive wind shear system.
Off.
After landing checklist complete.
Taxi light off.
Clear of the active Air France Fortry. What are all these vehicles doing out here on the taxiway? Is there a terminal around here? I don't see a terminal. I'd like to go to a terminal if there's a terminal. Oh, there, is that a terminal behind us? I think that's a terminal behind us. Okay, we'll get to the terminal. This isn't going to be pretty. Way to give you hot brakes. Look at this scenery. Oh my goodness, I'm loving this scenery. Look at the little castle off there to our right. Castle-like structure. And of course, like in much of Europe, I don't see any jet bridges. Are there jet bridges a little further down? The shadows are getting a little long. How long have we been flying? I'd like a jet bridge if there's a jet bridge. There are jet bridges down here. How about that? Okay. not a jet bridge, it's just uncivilized. Is that too far? We are on APU. We can cut engine 1, cut engine 2. Get some of these lights off. We'll leave the beacon on. Seatbelt sign can come off. And see if we get that jet bridge attached. Well, the simulator has frozen up, so I am going to wish you folks a good day, and thank you for joining me.